Oh, it's really?
Yeah, it wouldn't take.
Can you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening. It's Tuesday, June 9th. It's a little after 7:30. We just came from executive session where we discussed employee compensation and board and commission and committee appointments. We have a relatively short agenda tonight, and I see nothing very pressing for the public. So, for those watching at home, and if you end up tuning in late, I apologize. We may be done already. All right, moving right into.
There's no basketball game tonight.
But there's no basketball game. There is Stanley Cup, but it does not involve the Knicks, and we'll talk more about that later. Moving right into our resolutions. Resolution number 1, considering approving additional work for Village Hall painting under contract 25-16 Village Hall painting.
Whereas on September 22nd, 2026, no, that can't be right. 25, the Board of Trustees hereby approved contract 25-16 Village Hall painting. And whereas under that contract, Pristine Concept Solutions of New Holland Village, Nanuet, New York, performed painting upgrades in Village Hall. And whereas that under that contract, it's a 2-year contract with Pristine Concept Solutions. And whereas Rybrook is interested in continuing to work with Pristine Concept Solutions for the remaining of the painting upgrades, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the additional work for contract 25-16 Village Hall painting.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I think this is fairly straightforward. Any questions or comments from the board?
Do we get to pick colors?
I think the colors were already picked.
Oh.
This is just a continuation of the. It's a continuation. So last year we did all the common spaces, the lobbies, some of the meeting, bathrooms, and now this is going more into the all the different offices.
Not this.
I'm going to try to do this as well.
We're trying, but this is, as you know, this is a little bit
Yeah,
tricky
this
with
has the wallpaper.
the type of wall system on it.
Any other questions or comments?
Let's push back on. It's in New York.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. It seems really, they've been doing a good job and everything seems to be moving along nicely, which is great.
Definitely.
All right, resolution number 2, considering declaring municipal equipment as surplus.
Whereas Rybrook has municipal equipment that is no longer of functional value or use to the village and may have resale value. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees declares the equipment listed below as surplus and will be listed in the official newspaper and sold to the highest qualified bidder through an approved electronic bidding process with Auctions International. There's a whole list of equipment on the big part, so all fire type equipment, so it's a lot of Scott air packs, some face pieces, old generators, Hurst power tools that we've since replaced, some power units, more Hurst equipment. We have cutters and spreaders, fire rescue saw, ventilation fans, different pants and coats, boots, airbags, and transfer switch. So it's an assortment of firefighting equipment. Be it further resolved that if no bids are received for a particular item, that the items may be disposed of through appropriate means. And be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So, second.
I don't know, I may need some of those outfits for
I know.
Halloween.
That's true. That would be good.
Feel free to bid.
I did notice, I went through the entire list because there was so much on there.
Mhm.
There is something that they're getting rid of from 2024. And I wanted to know, was there a reason why something was wrong with it, or they don't use it anymore, or is it a size issue? I'm just floating that out there because there's so much equipment.
I can't answer that as I sit here today, but I can inquire about it.
Okay?
Which item is 24?
I will have to look back at that list.
I like that Hurst tool.
Some of the air, looks like some of the air packs. Yeah.
Yeah, what is an air pack? That was my next
That's,
question.
Those are
They
the,
strap on when
the
they
air
go
that goes
fire.
on the back of the system. Do you know what's the 24?
Or is it relatively new?
It says, I mean, I'm just looking right now, and it's just one of the things. It's
Oh, I'm looking at the background, yeah.
number 26. It looks like bottle number 26. So I think it's just air bottles that probably need to be replaced regularly, I would imagine.
I don't see a 24.
2015 and-
Number 26 is, is that a test date or is that a,
Yeah, that's just the last,
yeah, the last hydro test?
these are the last test
Well,
dates.
those are the last test dates.
Yeah,
Yes.
not a manufacture date.
Not-
That's a test
yeah.
date. Yeah.
We can see they go, mostly those go back on those bottles 2012
Fine,
to,
I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't look.
That's okay.
Because otherwise you'd have stuff from 25, not even 24.
Yeah, but those are test dates. So, all right. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Manufacturer dates.
What do you,
Oh, Michael, all right, Michael.
would a resident like to speak on items who are not on the agenda?
Resident, maybe one day. The air packs, the fire department is going to surplus them. However, they're gonna be held for the moment because they may be able to trade them in for additional equipment. So we're gonna surplus them just for the purposes of having them already approved, but they're gonna hold them in case there's additional money available for swapping equipment with dealers.
That would be amazing.
That's the intent, but we still have to surplus them anyway.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments from the board?
No.
All right.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Mayor,
Ri-
just one thing, because I just got a message from downstairs. If we can just try our best to speak into the mic, we're having problems picking
so
up the
make
audio.
sure that the microphone's there.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 3. Considering fiscal year 26-27 capital fund budget modification and transfer between projects.
Resolved, the following transfer between capital projects to fund the replacement of the highway dump truck 5500 series be approved. And these are transfers totaling $7,081.70. And these are, be it further resolved that the following transfer between capital projects to fund the HVAC system for police fire department training room renovation be approved. And this is from the sewer account to the training room project in the amount of $6,000. And be it further resolved, the following fiscal year 26-27 capital fund modification reduce the budget for the EV staff vehicle due to an increase in NYSERDA Drive Clean rebate from $7,500 to $2,000 be hereby approved. And this is a decrease in appropriations from in the amount of $5,500 and also a decrease in revenues in the same amount. And be it further resolved, the following transfer be approved, and the balance required to purchase the EV staff vehicle, and this is a transfer from the sewer repairs and relining account to the EV staff vehicle for the building department in the current fiscal year. And be it further resolved, the following capital projects be restated, and these are just restating the modified budgets for the highway dump truck, the EV staff vehicle, and the police department training room in the new amounts. And be it further resolved that following fiscal year 26-27 capital fund budget be amended to recognize funding approved by the Environmental Protection Agency Sanitary Sewer Congressional Grant Program in the amount of $959,752. And be it further resolved that Rybrook, under the terms of the grant program, will advance funds from the general fund to perform the work required and thereby request reimbursement of advanced funds as stipulated by the EPA. So you're basically recreating, reestablishing the increase in the appropriations and also increasing the revenue in the amount of just under $1 million for that grant. And be it further resolved, the following capital fund budget be restated. And this is the sewer repairs and relining account. This is the adopted budget, which is our $300,000 contribution towards the grant, and the modified budget, which is now $1.259 million. Which is a change in the amount of the grant amount of the $959,000 and change. And be it further resolved that Rybrook is interested in accepting a $959,752 grant from the EPA for the village sewer infrastructure repair project.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
I'll tell you, we're a month into and we're already making transfers.
Well, some of this is also because some of these grants are coming online.
No, I know, and
So
it's a
we have
shame
to-
also that
we
we're
have to
not
accept-
getting as much of a rebate on that or
Yeah, a couple $1,000s.
on the electric vehicle.
No, but we are getting, the better part is the $1 million we're getting for
Yes.
sewer relining,
Yes.
for the sewer work.
Were we expecting that?
Yeah. Yeah, this is now, it's taken how long, Michael? 3 years to go through the approval process and paperwork for the federal funds due to a list of reasons that are not in our on our end. Stoppage, starting, when the funds get appropriated. So we literally just got approval 2 weeks ago of the paperwork got approved. So now you have to accept the funds and now increase the budget and allow for the advance, which we want to wait till this fiscal year. Otherwise, you want to try to expend the money in the same fiscal year. Otherwise, when you advance it, you're going to be short at the end of the fiscal year. So you want to expend it, get reimbursed, and it gets replenished.
We're allowed to change the budget that much?
You can change the budget anytime.
Okay.
And again, at the end of the day, it's a net zero. So you're expanding it
Without a public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you basically are just you're adding the budget you add to the budget that $960,000, advancing the money from the general fund, and then you get reimbursed for it, and it's a net zero.
Right.
Right. It's and to Chris's point there, it is a net zero in the budget, but it's also important to realize that this in no way, shape, or form changes the tax levy. at all.
No.
So,
And
if it was $1 million expense that we incurred at some point for something else, then we would probably have to go out and put out a ban or a bond
Yep.
for something like that, and that would have an effect on
the
the
levy.
tax rolls and the tax levy the following year. But
And
this is a net zero, so it does have no effect.
And the reason you want to wait till after June 1st is if we did this and set it up and approved the funds and approved the grant and accepted the funds and started, you're then creating a project account for, say you then started to do the work. Now you're advancing funds that you're not going to get reimbursed for in the same fiscal year, which will then throw your books off.
I'm sorry, I have a
Yeah.
question. It may have something to do with this or not. I just need clarification. The assessments on these homes, it was a zero for them because they're vacant, they're down, what?
This is about the sewer budget, though.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Never mind.
That's okay.
I thought we were going to the National Council.
That's, huh? The NRCS program. Well, we can talk about it. So the NRCS program, when the homes are removed, you'll just have land value.
Yeah.
But right now, you still have the value of the homes, which the only thing we have to pay is sewer tax on it. Because nobody's exempt from that. We're exempt from property taxes on the properties we've purchased and we own. We're exempt from property tax, but we're not exempt from sewer tax and
So until the
solid
sewers
waste
are
tax.
capped, we still pay sewer tax.
Well, and then when the
Sorry.
houses are down,
I'm
now
sorry,
you're
that's what I thought we were talking
the
about.
value. You'll have the land value, which will still be taxed,
Right,
but it's minimal when it's just land.
right.
Any other questions or comments?
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crum?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to resolution number 4, considering approving I went off of this, sorry. There we go. Considering the approval of the minutes for the meetings held on March 14th and April 14th, 2026. That can't be right, though.
March 10th and April 14th.
March 10th, yeah, thank you.
Let's see. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the minutes for the meetings held on March 24th, 2026, and April 14th, 2026.
Hold on a second. I'm seeing multiple different things here.
I think you're seeing it on the first line. You're seeing it.
The minutes we have in the backup, though, are March 10th.
Oh, March 10th?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that things align.
Yep.
And I believe the March 10th was back on because at the last meeting, that was the one that was a little bit off when we went to go look at it.
Okay.
All right. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Motion?
Second.
I may as well, you know, we're just gonna, Greg, let's just do normal. Any questions or comments from the board? Yeah,
Maybe I'm
okay.
just confused. Are we talking about March 10th or March 24th?
March 10th, because if we,
Resolution says the 24th.
no, I
Yeah,
know, we
the-
just
we're
switched
looking
it,
at the
but if you look
backup.
at the backup materials, it actually, the minutes that we have on there are the March 10th.
No, I understand
And
that.
I think we had approved the 24th
Before
at the
10th.
last meeting. The 10th we had held off on because when we looked in the backup materials, it wasn't it was just showing the votes and the agenda items. It wasn't showing the backup materials or anything else within there, the conversation and everything else.
So the resolution as written is incorrect.
Yes.
Correct. So the motion and the second that we have, though, is on the minutes for March 10th and April 14th,
Right.
once it was corrected. All right, any other questions or comments? All right.
Trustee Epstein,
Yes.
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 5. What just happened? Uh-oh. I think I just logged out by accident. Resolution number 5, Sustainability Committee appointment.
Now therefore be resolved that Aisha Nagra of 64 Rocking Horse Trail is hereby appointed to the Sustainability Committee for a term ending on the first Monday of April 2029.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Well, you know, with any of these appointments to our committees, we really appreciate anyone who is willing to volunteer their time for the benefit of the community. And I'll say this for the next two resolutions, this one, the next, and an add-on after this. So just thank you to Aisha for being willing to volunteer her time. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Trustee Epstein,
Yes.
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. Resolution number 6, considering an appointment to the Airport Advisory Council.
Now therefore be resolved that Anthony Samella of 212 Treetop Crescent is hereby appointed to the Airport Advisory Council for a term ending on the first Monday of April 2028.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
So I guess also what I just said before, again, thank you for being willing to volunteer your time. Again, all of these committees are very important. Certainly, Sustainability Committee works on issues related to how we can be a greener community. Airport Advisory Council works with the airport. We know that we are impacted heavily from the airport. And then the third appointment we're going to have tonight is the town's Board of Assessment Review, and that affects people's home values. So thank you to everyone for being willing to participate in these committees. Any other questions or comments from the board?
One quick comment.
Yeah.
Both of those committees or councils are going to have tables at the birthday party. So if anybody in the community maybe wasn't ready to volunteer for this year but want to know more about it, stop by at the birthday party, which is June 20th.
June 20th.
June
yes.
20th in the lower fields, and it's going to be a good time, 12 to 4. But there'll be tables at both those committees. You can talk more to people that are already on the committee about what they do.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments from the board?
Trustee Epstein,
Yes.
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. And we have an add-on resolution number 7, appointing an appointment for the, or not an appointment. I guess this is a,
Appointment,
Purchase.
Yeah, it's still recommending the appointment of.
okay, recommending the appointment of for the Board of Assessment Review.
Yep. Whereas the intermunicipal agreement exists between the town of Rye and the village of Rybrook for the selection of the members of the the Town of Rye's Board of Assessment Review, and whereas Joan Feinstein has resigned as a member of the Board of Assessment Review as the Rybrook representative on that board, and now therefore be it resolved that Paul Rosenberg of Rybrook, New York, shall hereby be appointed for the unexpired term of Joan Feinstein as the Rybrook representative on the Board of Assessment Review.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved?
Second.
I'm looking really quickly because I can get you an address.
Okay.
I believe it's 43 Country Ridge Drive.
I can look.
Because I'm looking at it, and
We'll
Paul,
fill in the
Paul,
blank.
forgive me, but I'm looking at the aerial photographs, and I know it's the area, and I see the solar panels. Okay. And that's what's giving it away for me, because I know he has them.
Although, thanks to Solarized Rybrook, there's a lot of those now.
There are, but there aren't many in that area.
I think we have
specifically.
a motion and a second, so I should just mention to the board. So the process under the intermunicipal agreement is the village will make this recommendation, assuming the resolution gets approved. This recommendation will go to the town board of the Town of Rye, and then they would have to concur with the appointment in order to move ahead.
All right. Any questions or comments on that one?
You said 43?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was I correct?
Yes.
I
Country
don't
Ridge
have it,
Drive.
believe
Yeah.
it or not.
It is.
All right. All right.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. And I want to take a moment just to thank former Mayor Feinstein for her service on the Board of Assessment Review. This is something that we don't take lightly. I mean, it's, obviously people are always concerned about their home values and how it affects their taxes. I think, everyone right now is getting their, and you're probably going to address this in your administrative report, so I'm not going to go into that. All right, I'm going to wait for Chris to make his comments, but I want to thank Mayor Feinstein for her service on this. I also want to thank, we had a resignation just from the Recreation Committee as well, and I want to thank Nethra Bhatt for her service on the board. I think it's been great having her as part of that. I know that the chair has told me it's very nice having her on there. So, and we appreciate, and again, this, I'm singling out these people because they've come off the board, but really we are thankful for everyone who lives in our community, who volunteers their time to help make our community better. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, administrator's report.
We have another add-on resolution, though, the
for
passport
fast.
agreement.
Oh, right, sorry,
Okay, so I'll read the resolution.
please.
So this is considering an agreement between the Village of Rybrook and Passport for Police Department citation tracking services. Whereas the Village of Rybrook wishes to improve tracking capability for Police Department issued for citations, and whereas the Village of Rybrook has received proposals dated May 26, 2026 and June 8, 2026 from Passport to assist the Rybrook Police Department with tracking citations, and whereas the proposed agreement is effective June 1st, 2026 until May 31st, 2027, with the village purchasing 3 Zebra handheld plus printers, plus with printers for $5,250, handheld programming fee of $750, one-time shipping costs of $28, managed services for $102 monthly, and a data plan cost of $105 monthly. And whereas Rybrook is interested in accepting the proposed agreement with Passport, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposed agreement with Passport to assist the Police Department with tracking citations subject to modification by council, and be it further resolved the mayor and administrator are authorized to sign any documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
All right, Chris, I think we need some explanation
Yeah,
on
I'm
this.
going to actually ask for Eric's help. This agreement came up late. As you can see, it was revised today. So,
Right,
so I think Eric would.
yeah, and I think,
Instead of having me fumble through it, I think Eric could answer a lot
yeah,
better.
absolutely, and I think, the important question is, what is this being used for, and how are we justifying the expense?
So, back when the audit came down for the court, the village realized how much how much of the funding that we were supposed to be getting, we didn't. These will help us track the summons numbers and also be able to go in real time and see what steps they're in for recovery of the funds for the issued summons.
These are also the handhelds?
Most of it is the handhelds. It's 3 units, so you could have 2 officers carrying them at any given time and the third one charging because, it takes a few hours to charge up. And the only annual thing once we purchase these is the managed services fee, which is like a maintenance to cover them if something breaks. And then a Verizon SIM card for each, so they have wireless.
The other thing we should mention is very significant is oftentimes if a judge is unable to read the handwriting, we used to do handwritten tickets. So in the past, if they were handwritten and the judge had any problem on any of the documents, it was often then released and dismissed. So this is something that will prevent that from that type of activity happen on any regular basis because they're going to be really printed forms.
They're all printed, yeah.
So Eric, so this is a handheld, a piece of equipment. If someone gets pulled over, or is this something just for parking?
No, this is only for parking tickets.
Okay.
And clearance tickets.
So-
So basically, it's something similar to a cell phone.
Microphone, if you don't mind.
Explain the process, like
Basically, it's something similar to a cell phone. And there's a barcode reader built into it.
okay,
You walk up to the vehicle,
mm-hmm,
you scan
Scan
the
it.
registration, fills in all the appropriate information for the vehicle.
right,
You select whatever summons it is.
right,
You hit
Boom.
print.
Mhm.
Prints out on the printer. You rip it off, stick it on the windshield, and walk away.
okay. So then, when that takes effect, that information is stored there, or it goes to a database automatically
It will upload
to a
to the passport database.
database,
Yes.
and then we have a record.
It goes
The
to
court,
the court, gets
automatically
rendered.
goes to the court.
Yep.
Without that's only that's it. It goes right to the court through that system.
Yes.
So the police officer doesn't do anything else.
Nope.
Except show up to
Except
court if
charge
he's
them.
not guilty.
Well, if they're
If
it's
they
necessary.
choose not guilty,
Someone pleads not guilty.
all
Correct.
right, that's
And also, we're able to put in the local codes too. That's
Yes.
another benefit.
ordinances.
Right now, we're having some problems entering that into the old
that's
the old
good.
system. So
That's good.
now we're able to put the local ordinances. As you know, we get the revenue from the local ordinances, not all the state ones.
One other question. So now the ticket goes out, goes on the windshield. 30 days go by, someone doesn't pay it. Who sends the second notice out saying now it's $60 or $80?
Passport does.
Passport does.
Yes,
But-
they send out the letters for us.
So we don't do anything.
No, but the town is still responsible for collections.
They are.
Yeah.
Town is still responsible for collections, but Passport will, I think, send out 3 letters. I think was the
Yeah, but through the town.
Through the
And
town,
town's
yeah.
responsible
Through
for
their,
that ultimately.
coordination with the town.
And then obviously, hey, these people ain't paying warrant or whatever.
Well, it would be considered a scofflaw, and then that's why we were.
Won't be able to register your vehicle. Or, yeah.
Okay, good.
So this
All right.
looks like a long-term contract. What if it's not working for us? Is it something that
It's not a long-term contract.
is not?
It's 1 year.
And this has been around for a long time. I've seen police
The agreement
parking.
with the town of Rye is different than ours.
People, you've seen police officers using these things before. Parking
No, I haven't
enforcement.
been stopped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, you have to stop. No, no. The parking enforcement, they just go around
I'm
scanning
kidding
with
around.
that thing, print and go.
Yeah.
It's quick, fast, easy. Get out of here quick.
Yes, I have seen that.
The-
Okay.
You know,
Take
what's
it and
happened
run.
also is
good
my
thing.
understanding. What's happened too is the pricing on this has really dropped from the past. These fees they used to be a much more expensive type system,
Mm-hmm.
and when we were only getting $40,000-$50,000 in revenue, it was too high of a price point to offset the revenue.
Right, that's
but at
my
this, now
question
the
here.
now the pricing has dropped to a point where we think it definitely makes sense because we're able to both get the local tickets and we're able to get the local ordinances, and we're not going to get all the waivers of the tickets that we're currently getting from handwritten tickets, which is significant.
Okay, and the town is on board with the collection and
They're
everything.
encouraged by it because now they'll be able to much easier to read this than a handheld ticket,
Okay.
handwritten
And-
ticket.
Right, Portchester is already doing this, right? So,
Yeah, anyone with any real volume has these.
right. So we're the odd man out, and we're
Yeah.
catching up. So it's overdue in a way.
Because we don't have a traditional,
Yeah.
downtown with parking meters and stuff like that.
No, I think it's great.
Good. Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions or comments from the board?
No, I think we should keep an eye on how much time it takes to charge those, so that way we know if we ever have to get new ones, how many we need.
Right.
Great.
Rock and roll.
Trustee Epstein?
Good. Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes, good.
Trustee Crom?
Yes,
Trust-
good.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes, great.
And Mayor Klein?
Simply yes. All right. Thank you. Administrator's report.
Okay, just we touched on it before, but the town of Rye is responsible for setting the assessment roll, and the process. We're at the time of year now where the tentative roll is now been filed and is available. So the tentative roll has to be filed by June 1st, and then the time frame gets pretty tight. So residents should be aware and should have received notices of any changes or any your new assessments that are in effect for your particular homes. So shortly, right after the tentative roll is filed by the town assessor, then those notices go out by the town, and then the town holds a grievance day on June 15th. So any kind of tax challenges have to be done on or before June 15th with the town of Rye. And then it goes to the Board of Assessment Review, and the Board of Assessment Review then reviews any of the tax challenges, and then the final roll gets established by September 15th. So that's a big picture overview of the schedule. And then that final roll is the roll that we use for our budget next year, as well as other taxing jurisdictions as well. So it's an important time frame. In Rybrook, we've had a pretty sizable increase overall. We've had some conversations with the assessor about some general trends going on in Rybrook. So we just kind of mentioned a little bit of it. So the average single-family properties in Rybrook went up about 8.2%, and residential properties as a class, and that includes more than single-family, went up about 9%. That's a good thing, and people shouldn't necessarily get concerned if they see their property went up 9%, because the roll going up, if everyone goes up 9%, you're not paying one more dollar. If all things remain equal, you're not paying one more dollar in taxes. What you're doing is you're only paying it means the values of all the properties are going up at the same rate if everyone went up at 9%. And they don't all go up at 9%, but if everyone went up at the average, then you're just it's the distribution of how the taxes are paid. So where you get concerned is from a tax perspective is if your tax increase, your AV or your assessed value went up at a greater rate than other properties. It means you're paying a little bit more of the pie. Of course, that also means your property went up in value more than other homes. So there's a benefit there too as well. It depends on how you look at it. In reverse, if your property went lower at a different rate, maybe you're paying a lesser version of the amount of your taxes, but at the same time, your property value has maybe have dropped at a later rate or went up at a little bit less rate than others. So you really have to look at your own individual taxes. Just be aware that the assessment that is going up does not automatically mean you're paying more taxes. The levy, which is the amount we raise by taxation, and the village issues a levy, the town issues a levy, the county issues a levy, the school districts issues a levy. That's more of an indicator of spending. So that's going to tell you the levy will establish a tax rate, and that's what gets applied against your assessed value. So commercial properties in Rybrook has remained pretty much flat, went up a couple of million. Average properties in Rybrook have definitely gone up, which is a good thing. It shows some real health in the community. And that's throughout the village, both school districts, properties throughout the village are all really doing well. Most of the increases in the village, unless you did work on your homes, the typical increases were between 7 and 9%, according to the town assessor. If you're an outlier and your property went up a great amount, it probably means you had some work done to your property, in which case the property gets revalued to take into account that type of additional work. So it's the time to really take a hard look at it, make sure your taxes are fair. If you think that the tax does not the assessed value does not represent, the approximate market value of your home, then you should look to challenge it. And there's a process that's on the Town of Rye website, not the Village of Rybrook. But if you go to the Town of Rye website and go to the assessment page, you'll be able to look up all your assessments, your neighbors' assessments, and you'll be able to look up how to challenge it. You don't always need a special outside firm to do that. You can often do it on your own, and you'll be able to find the process to really take a look at the assessment and see, if you don't think it's fair, there is an ability to challenge that. So again, it's a good thing. We have that all this information on our website. On the top of the page, you'll see some information and links right at the top of the Village of Rybrook website, and it's also available on the Town of Rye website. It's important to, be knowledgeable, be informed about your property values, make sure it's representative of your share of the tax pie, so that you're paying the appropriate amount of taxes, and that your value of your property is accurately reflected. Other topics, I'm going to really swing to a different topic and say congratulations to the Mayhem 11U baseball team. We were notified they won the Greater Hudson Valley Baseball League champs, and we're hoping to maybe have them at a future meeting, but we just want to mention and congratulate them on a season well done. This Saturday, June 13th at 10 a.m., we're going to have a nature walk with the mayor. And that's going to be at the Edith Reed Sanctuary in the city of Rye, right behind Playland. So if you're interested in going on that walk, we'd love to have you RSVP, which you could do to Greg Rivera at grivera@rybrookny.gov. And again, all that information is on our website, as well as through social media and email blasts we've been sending out. That's the first of that series, of what we hope to have a series, and it's a great time to have a one-on-one conversation with the mayor as you're walking with others, as well as learn a little bit more about some of the parks that they're going through and some of the activities and these great parks that we have in Westchester County. Lastly, as Trustee Crom mentioned earlier, our Rybrook birthday is held at the King Street Athletic Fields, right in front of the Blind Brook School District fields. And that's on June 20th from 12 to 4. We're looking forward to another fun day and hopefully a great event for the community, bringing everybody together. So really looking forward to that as well. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Chris. There is one other item of business that I would like just to maybe have a quick conversation about, and that's we know that in the budget that was signed by the governor, the state budget that was signed by the governor, that it included some changes to seeker, and so I was hoping that we could just get a quick briefing. I know it's a lofty topic, but I just wanted to make sure that people understood. I know there was an email. There was Keenan Bean had circulated I think there were two separate emails that we had gotten on there. There was just a couple pages. I think it was a 3-pager or something that outlined some of these changes. It doesn't seem that it will have a huge effect on Rybrook, but I just wanted to have a bit of a conversation about what exactly this means for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. So as part of the governor's budget, some amendments were made to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. There had previously been a push to exempt certain types of projects from the SECRA review process. Those did not pass, and so as part of the amended budget, there were some changes made. So just as a general primer, SECRA is really focused on the environmental reviews of impacts to land, water, and resources. There's implementing regulations that are adopted by the State Department of Environmental Conservation. And it's interesting because these amendments, which just went into effect in May, are statutory, so they are not a part of the regulations. You might have heard of a Type 1 action or a Type 2 action or an unlisted action. With these new changes, these are entirely exempt, and it must meet a specific criteria. If you don't hit any of these criteria, you're not exempt. So the biggest one is outside of New York City. If you have connection to existing sewer and water, and you're located in a previously disturbed site, there is a definition for that, and no more than 20% commercial, and a maximum of, here in Rybrook, it would be 300 dwelling units, and you do not include construction of a single parcel of residences 1 acre or larger, you are exempt from the State Environmental Quality Review Act. You would still be subject to other types of or other types of review, such as site plan or the subdivision process or stormwater or local regulations on wetland. It doesn't change any of those local regulations and laws that the village has. It just kind of says, for these specific types of projects, as long as you have all of those factors met, you do not need to go through the SECRA process. Again, it doesn't mean projects won't get reviewed through the village's normal review process before site plan, for subdivision approval, before the zoning board. It just means that this aspect of that review is no longer necessary. There's also an exemption for public parks that are in previously disturbed sites, as well as multi-use bicycle and pedestrian trails, and then also certain types of municipal wastewater and water infrastructure projects. There's been a little bit of a change to the time frame for this. Basically, if you determine that it meets these factors and you don't need to draft an EIS, environmental impact study, they're expecting the whole process to be wrapped up within a year. For that, when you don't need to, when you are not exempt, so you are subject to SECRA, you don't hit any of those factors, they expect about a year for you to have your environmental review process done. Typically, the environmental review process for non-exempt projects will last that long, maybe a bit shorter. It depends. So I want to go back to the previously disturbed site definition because I think that's important. So that means it has to be a previously disturbed piece of land. It can't just be like pristine, natural, undisturbed land that would be exempt from SECRA. It has to have at least substantially altered by current or previous improvements at least 2 years before the submission. So again, any property that hasn't been developed would not be considered exempt. And so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer that.
What was the reason for it, do you think? Is it to speed up development?
I
think it basically was. So as part of the governor's initiatives for pro-housing and to build housing, a similar proposal had been included in the governor's budget last year. It did not pass, and so this is kind of a variation of that is more, I would say, targeted at specific types of projects.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the original proposal last year also exempted some of these projects from local code.
Exactly. So last year, as part of the pro-housing initiative, like local regulations concerning density, setbacks, certain types of dimensional requirements would have been exempt entirely. So this one is a much more targeted change in the law. Any type of development would still be subject to the village's density requirements, lot size requirements, lot coverage requirements.
Our laws are still in effect.
Exactly. All of the village's laws are still in effect.
Yeah, and I think that was that's part of why I wanted this briefing, because I think, given that there was the proposal last year in the budget and where this ended up, I've certainly heard from a lot of people that and certain environmental groups and other groups that were really concerned that some of the environmental review processes were being railroaded here, for certain projects in the sake of trying to get development in there. And I think it's important to note that the local legislation remains in effect.
Yeah.
That this has more to do with the SECRA process itself.
Yes.
And not to do with our local laws.
Exactly. This does not change any of the village's local laws. This only really changes an aspect of implementing those laws when it comes to the environmental review process of an exempt action. Again, it's still any project would still be subject to the village's zoning ordinance, any wetland protections, planning board review, zoning board review for variance, or any types of permits. It doesn't exempt applications from receiving municipal local permits as well.
And it doesn't exempt large developments, right? There's a size.
Yes,
you mentioned it.
Yes, there's two or I would say three main size components. One is no more than 20% commercial. So if you have more than 20% of the project is going to be commercial, not exempt. If since Rybrook would fall into the urban area bucket, if you have more than 300 dwelling units, not exempt. And then if you are going to involve the construction of individual single-family residences on parcels of 1 acre or larger, not exempt. I don't know how applicable that would be in Rybrook, but in some other municipalities where they have much larger, 2 acre zoning, those properties would not be exempt.
I have a question. So, with the 1 year type time frame, right? With that, how does that factor in when some of that information is going to be dependent on the applicant getting that data to you so you can review? Like, they can't drag, you can't drag your feet on that either. Like, 'cause so if the applicant has provided the information, and say they have to do a traffic study for a 200 unit development,
Yeah.
how does that factor in? That time? How does that time frame factor in? Does it kind of hold still until that gets in, and then it counts from that point, or
Yeah.
have they not ironed that out yet?
I think we're going to have to look at that a bit more. I mean, obviously, if the village doesn't have all of the materials available to make that determination, a determination can't be made.
It's got to be factored in somehow.
Exactly. Yeah.
I could see this being a little bit concerning for, say, a mid-sized development where I think our planning process, our planning board depends on all the aspects of the EIS, I don't know whether we want to look at some point at looking at beefing up some of our requirements in our planning process to mirror that for some projects. For instance, let's say there was somebody that wanted to do, obviously not 300 units, but 100 units
Yeah.
on a site. Previously disturbed, all these things. And then we would be relying just on, again, our planning board for these larger developments, I think depends on if an EIS was required, that was a structure that was actually helpful to everybody, I thought.
Yeah. I think in that instance, the village could look at its site plan requirements and
Right.
its zoning requirements. Obviously, if there's a concern about any builds within any wetland areas, and I know the state has amended its wetland regulations recently, and so those have been and there's been some legal challenges, so those are also in limbo right now. But I mean, in terms of the municipal regulation of land development, that remains unchanged.
I mean, I'm not worried about our stormwater because we have extensive stormwater stuff in our code, but I don't know how much we have in there about traffic and, some other things that residents are going to be quite concerned about.
Yeah, so-
for something that's, say, 100 units or something.
So I from my experience, I don't sit with the Rybrook Planning Board. One of my colleagues does, but typically projects that are commercial or larger residential, they do require traffic studies. They require impacts, site analysis, and that's all done through the site plan process. And so,
But the site planning always there was
driven
always
by-
an EIS that was going to be required anyway, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying you think, whatever. I
A
think
lot of it would be done through, if it was a large project, it would be done through like the scoping document, where you're determining.
it was scoping
what
for the
potential-
EIS,
That's what I'm
right?
saying,
Yeah.
Yeah. So now there might not
That's
be
a
an
good
EIS.
point.
Yeah.
You have to look and see.
Yeah.
So
So
we have to
so
put that
do
into-
we
we
need
have
to
to
look at
codify
our
this.
code?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think
See
we have to
what
think
may
about
need
it.
to be in there in order to capture some of the items that would be important. And you still go through the review process, so you still have your engineers looking at it, you still have consultants looking at
Yeah.
it.
Yep. But I know
But
like
without-
different communities too have some impacts too, Mayor. Like they were saying, I think like Portchester has the form-based code, and I think they're concerned about the seeker impacts, the changes in seeker impacting there. So we have to look at our code too and see if there's errors. And we're not alone,
Right.
yeah.
The law just came out. Now the regulation's just coming out, so some of this now has to get figured out what everyone's going to be going through the same process.
Right. However, we know that once somebody submits something, you can't change what you want. So therefore, I think we have to move expeditiously.
Yeah, but remember, if it's over 300, it's going to be exempt anyhow.
I know, but
Yeah.
we have smaller
not
parcels of
going to be.
land
Yeah.
that are going
Yeah.
to have less housing. So therefore,
Yeah, and I mean, we would also have to look at, I mean, where those projects could physically fit as well. I mean, with the zoning regulations in terms of density, lot coverage, lot size, I think those will be some limiting factors. This, as with the proposal last year, those local regulations would have been not applicable, but here they still are.
And actually, our timing is perfect because remember, we have a moratorium in place that is looking at our zoning and any changes that need to happen for our larger parcels.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, good.
Thank you. See, I'm gonna get a T-shirt. Yes, good. I'm so
No, and
glad-
I think this was an important, and again, this is why I had asked for this to be on the for us to have this as a discussion, because I think it's important for us to realize what changes may occur because of this, and how as a municipality we are gonna have to deal with it. So, and again, I hate to harp on one of my favorite topics, but New York is a home rule state, and this is another example, I think, of the state really trying to, and I understand the, and if I remember correctly, a lot of this was originally proposed. Wasn't it proposed originally around the Metro North, around
Yes.
Train
Metro North
stations,
and
housing
train
around train
stations.
stations,
and it
and
was really trying to
high
get,
rises,
yeah, the idea was trying to get more housing and more affordable housing.
more density.
And more density into these areas to allow for the transportation. But again, it's kind of, the idea in the original proposal that it was going to override municipal code, I think, certainly didn't sit well with a lot of municipalities throughout New York State. And I think, knowing that the municipal codes remain intact, it was an important thing for just there to be an understanding about.
Yes.
Shouldn't we bring, at the very least, the chairs of the planning and zoning boards to a meeting to discuss these issues? If there are going to be changes, they need to know about them.
And perhaps have some input.
Yeah.
About the secret process.
Yeah.
So we I know that we did actually send copies of our office's legal alerts to the planning board and the zoning board. I think I personally said and assist the zoning board.
Yeah.
Typically, a lot of those projects are already exempt from SECRA because they are considered type 2 actions. They deal with area variances with residential properties, and so they don't need to go through the SECRA process. The planning board is the board which does do the SECRA process
But
a
I
lot
think it
more.
would be helpful if the chairs could meet with an attorney from Keenan Bean, whether it's you, Christian, or somebody else, just to get, if they have any questions, they can get them answered.
And I think also on top of that, maybe the planning board could have a similar discussion like the board just had now, and that maybe will help prep as the any new law legislation comes in as a result of the moratorium. That might help get people kind of thinking that way as well. What changes
Right.
should take effect?
Yeah.
Christian's furiously writing notes.
I saw this. You have this, right?
And we do have I should mention this, somewhat related, but not really directly related. Yeah, we do have the RFP out for our planning firms, for another planning firm. So, as you know, Hardesty and Hanover decided not to continue for the long term on municipal planning. So they're still working with us until we make a transition, but we're out looking for another planning firm and have an RFP out. They're due, and those responses are due later this month.
That's right.
All right. Any other questions or comments on this topic?
No.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Anything else? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, the next meetings of the Board of Trustees will be June 23rd and July 14th, 2026. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian.
You're looking at my assessment.
Well, I wasn't looking at yours.
I look at
Actually,
this stuff.
I'm not a fan of doing the tree.
not
Yes.
time.
I think most of the time 30 days to me is